So understand that if you're doing the same thing the same way as everyone else, you're going to get the same results. Okay. And that's called mediocrity. We all know someone whose expectations are way out of line with the efforts and the inputs that they're giving. And so, of course, they're highly unlikely to ever have their expectations fulfilled because they just aren't giving enough. They just aren't contributing enough. But we're not going to talk about those people today. I'm going to be speaking to those of you whose expectations, whether you know it or not, may actually be too low. Okay. And there's a lot of that out there. Your expectations dictate what you get out of life. They really, really do. So, this is Mark Johnson, the founder of Bounce Pep, bringing you ideas for a fit and flourishing future. And I am the youngest son of Bill Johnson, and I'm so proud to be talking to you. So glad to have you today. I hope that you are subscribed. If not, subscribe now. Go ahead and do it. Don't be afraid. With that said, let me just make a very simple statement to start. Do the same thing and get the same results. Now, how does that work? It works in a couple different ways. Number one is this. If you do the same thing as everyone else, you're likely to get the same results as everyone else. Okay. Number two, if you do the same thing that you've always done, you're likely to keep getting the same result. So it works in those two ways. And this really comes down to putting yourself inside of a box. Sometimes you put yourself inside of a box without really knowing that you're doing it. It's not really intentional, but in fact, that's what happens. So this idea first of doing what everyone else does and getting the same results is a common problem because, as human beings, we love to human beings love to follow. It's not, most people are not leaders. Most people are more comfortable really following. And so what we want frameworks, we want principles, we want templates that we can just plug ourselves into, plug our efforts into, and then achieve the results. But the fact of the matter is this. You can have all the frameworks and principles you want. And of course, at Bounce Pep, we offer you a lot of frameworks and principles to level up your life. But there's always going to be a certain level of customization, tailorization that's going to be required for you to achieve a result. Just because somebody swears up and down to you that you're going to get $1 million result by doing XYZ, generally speaking, it doesn't work that simply. Okay. Generally speaking, what you'll find is that the framework or the principle works in general, but you may have to make certain tweaks. Okay. You may have to do like things a little bit different on a periphery in order to make it work for you. Okay. So understand that if you're doing the same thing the same way as everyone else, you're going to get the same results. Okay. And that's called mediocrity. So if you don't want to be there, you've got to be comfortable going outside of what everybody else is doing. Okay. And maybe you need to find a completely different framework. Maybe you need a completely different solution, in order to achieve that thing that you want to achieve. Mark Johnson here. I'm excited to invite you to join Bounce Pep's 3-day VIP focus and follow through retreat here in Kyoto, Japan. Your time is the most valuable asset that you have, and you can't waste it. So I want you to come join me. I'm going to work with you personally. We're going to work on what your true purpose should be at this point in your life so that you can focus in on it and you can follow through and make progress. You're going to be treated like a true VIP. You're going to have 2 days of the actual program where we do a bit of work, and then we're going to have 1 day where you go on a curated tour through the legendary city of Kyoto, Japan. If you've never been to Japan, this is your chance. And I can tell you a bit about my story. So, if you've been watching me for a while, that I live in Japan. Love it here. Now, people's expectations of me, it's an interesting thing because other people can have low expectations of you. So it's not only you, sometimes other people can have low expectations of you. And so what happens is they don't expect you to be able to do something that you can do. So, I lived here a long time and, I built this house and my kids are going to school here and, I live very comfortably, fluent in Japanese, read and write. And people are just fascinated by the fact that this black man can come and live in their country and really, really excel and really, really live very well, not have any problems, so to speak of. They're just fascinated by the idea that it's possible because it's so far outside of what they expect. They would expect that, I can't speak. They would expect that I can't understand. They would expect that I need help doing everything. And so when they find out that none of those things are really true, then of course it really exceeds, transcends their expectations, really surprises them, and people are really, really fascinated by it. So, to this day, people are fascinated by this. Now, let me go to the other point. I want you to get used to the idea of doing something differently than you've always done. So this is not about other people's expectations of you. This is about your own expectations. And in order to transcend your own expectations, you've got to do something differently than what you've always done. Okay. Now, I know this is hard because what you've always done is comfortable, but what you've always done is going to get you the same result that you've been getting this whole time. So if you want a bigger, better result or just a different result, you've got to actually do something different. Okay. Again, this comes down to your expectations. A lot of people, especially people who are, it seems like the older we get, the more and more our dreams get kind of stampeded by the harshness of life. Okay. But I don't want your dreams, your aspirations, I don't care what age you are, whether you're 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, don't let life stampede, trample on your aspirations. Okay. Understand that there's no reason why you have to be stuck. Okay. You can make a decision to do something differently than you always done. I was in my 40s before I started working out, at an age when a lot of people would not really think to start seriously lifting weights. That's when I started. I didn't start in my 20s or teens. I started in my 40s. Okay. And I found out, hey, I can do this. When you get out there and you do something differently than you've always done, understand you're not going to be a master in the beginning, and that's okay. You don't have to be a master, but just be consistent and be serious. Okay. Do it consistently, do it seriously, and learn. You'll get better. You'll get better. And you'll find that your expectations that you may have had in the beginning, over time, you can actually accomplish something more than you were expecting to accomplish if you just do it seriously and consistently. I'm telling you, this works. Take it from me. I know that it works. And I'm not only talking about going to the gym and training. I'm talking about anything outside of that. Okay. The same thing is true. Okay. Outside of the gym, the same thing is true. Get outside of your own box. Stop seeing yourself inside of this tiny little box. Stop. Don't let yourself go. Stop letting yourself go. Okay. There's more for you. So that's my message for you today. You can transcend expectations. You can transcend the expectations that other people have of you. You can transcend the expectations that you have of yourself. You can actually do more, but you've got to do something differently. Take that with you. Talk to you next time.